Hello and welcome back. This is another fourth grade math video. And for this video, we are going to review how we do operations with whole numbers. That means we're going to quickly review how to add, how to subtract, how to multiply, and divide with multi-digit whole numbers. Okay, here is our first problem. For this one, we're going to add. We're going to take 961 and we're going to add 50 to it. So it's very important when you add and subtract using whole numbers that you keep everything lined up by their place values. So I'm going to start with putting 961 over here on the top. Now I need to make sure that that 50 is lined up so that the ones are on top of ones and the tens are on top of tens. So to do that, since I know that my second number is a 2-digit number instead of a 3-digit number, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start over here on this side. So I'm going to put the 0 here first and then the 5. That makes it a little bit easier, especially as the numbers get bigger, to make sure everything's lined up, to go ahead and write that first number and then to go ahead and work backwards for the second number. Now, you may have also noticed I left a lot of space in between my digits. The reason I do that is so that I have enough space to do some regrouping and make sure that each one of those regroupings is clear what place value it belongs in. Okay, so let's start with the ones place. 1 plus 0 is 1. Now we'll go to the tens place. 6 plus 5 is 11. So whenever I get a 2-digit answer, I need to split it up. So since I have 11 here, the ones go down and the tens go up. So the 1 in the ones place goes down here, and the 1 in the tens place goes up on top of the next place value. 1 plus 9 is 10. So I'm going to go ahead and split that up again. I'm going to take the 10, ones go down, and tens go up. So that 0 is going to go down, and that 1 is going to get regrouped to the next place value. Since there's nothing in the next place value to hold it, it's just going to fall straight down and land right here. So the final answer to this would be 1011. Okay, here is our next problem. We're going to take the number 267 and we're going to divide it by 2. So to show you how to divide this, I'm going to use a standard algorithm. If you've seen some of my previous videos, you know there's multiple ways to do division like this. But for this one, I'm just going to review the standard algorithm, which means I'm going to take the 267 and put it inside a division bracket and put the 2 on the outside. So first number inside, second number outside. Then I'm going to follow the steps: divide, multiply, subtract, and bring down. So what that means is if my first step is to divide, I have to figure out how many times 2 will fit into 2. Or if I have 2 items, how many groups of 2 I can make. So that would be 1. 2 fits into 2 one time. So that's the division step. My next step is to multiply the number I just placed on the top times the number on the outside and loop it down here. So 1 times 2 is equal to 2. So that's going to go right there. That is the multiplication step. My next step is to subtract. So I'm going to do 2 minus 2, which is 0, and cross that off. And then the B is for bring down. So I'm going to bring down this next number and place it right here. So I'm bringing down the 6. Now I need to go repeat my steps. So I'm going to go back up here to divide, but this time I'm looking to see how many times 2 fits into 6. That would be 3 times. So I'm going to put a 3 up here and cross that off. For the multiplication step, I'm going to take the number I just put on top, multiply it by the outside, and loop it down here. So 2 times 3 is 6. And I'm going to cross that off. Next would be subtract. So I'm going to subtract those 2 numbers, which would give me 0. And I'm going to cross that off. Then I'm going to bring down the 7 and place it here. So now I've gone through the steps a second time, but I'm still not done. So I'm going to go ahead and go through the steps one more time. I'm going to go back to the division step. I'm going to erase some of these. There we go. Okay. So in the division step, I need to figure out how many times now 2 fits into 7. So that would be, again, 3 times. So if I have 7 objects, if I make groups of 2, I will end up with 3 groups. So that's the division step. Then I multiply the number I just put up there times the 2 and then loop it down here. 2 times 3 is 6. So I'm going to cross that off. My next step is to subtract. So I'm going to subtract those 2 numbers. 7 minus 6 is 1. Cross that off. And now we're back to bring down. Well, there are no more numbers here to bring down. So that means I'm finished dividing. So my answer is this number that got placed on the top, that 133 But I can't forget that when I subtracted, I still had 1 left over. So I'm going to write that as remainder 1. That means when I have 267 and I divide it by 2, I could do that 133 times, but I would have 1 left over. Okay, here is our next example. We're going to do 968 and we're going to subtract 608 from that. So again, like I mentioned earlier, when you're adding or subtracting, it's very important to keep things lined up by place value. So I'm going to start by writing 968 here on the top and give it some space for regrouping. And then I'm going to start going this way when I write the second number. So I'm going to start with an 8 in the ones place, a 0 over here, and a 6 over here. That way I can make sure if there's different amounts of numbers in each number that it's lined up correctly. So 8 minus 8, starting with the ones place, is 0. 6 minus 0 is 6. And 9 minus 6 is 3. So no regrouping needed here, but our final answer is going to be 360. Okay, here's our next example. We're going to take the number 8,782 and we're going to multiply it by 6. So for this one, I'm going to show you or review with you using the standard algorithm. There are multiple ways to multiply, but for this video, I'm just going to use the standard algorithm, which means I need to put the number that has the most digits up on the top. That would be the 8,872. So let me go ahead and put that here. 8,782. And then I'm going to put the 6 down here at the bottom. Okay, so I'm going to start by multiplying the two numbers in the ones place, which would be 2 times 6. That's going to give me 12, or a 2-digit answer. So in a 2-digit answer, to do regrouping, we need to split it up. That means that ones go down and the tens go up, just like when you're adding. So that means the 2 is going to go down here and the 1's going to go up here on top of the next place value. So my next step is now going to be to multiply the 8 times the 6. 8 times 6 is 48, but now I need to add the one that got regrouped here. So that's going to be 49. That gives me another 2-digit answer. So the ones will go down and the tens will go up. That means the 9 will go down here and the 4 will get regrouped to that next place value. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and erase that. And then my next step is to multiply the 7 times the 6. Well, 7 times 6 is 42, but now I have to add the 4 that got placed on top of that. And when I do that, I end up with 6 here and 4 here. So that's 46. That means the ones will go down and the tens will go up. So I got to put a 6 down here and a 4 on top over here. Okay, so my last step is going to be to multiply 8 times 6 again, which is 48. So let me go ahead and put that 48 here, but I still have to add the 4 that got placed on the top. So I'm going to add the 4 there. 8 plus 4 is 12. And then if I regroup that, I end up with a 5 here. So 52. That means the 2 goes down here and the 5 goes up to the next place value. If there's nothing to hold the 5 up there, it's just going to fall straight down and land right here. So the final answer to this would be 52,692. Okay, here is our last example for today's video. We're going to take 4,380 and subtract 1,275. I decided to do another subtraction one for our last one, since in the previous subtraction one, we didn't actually get to do any regrouping. So this one, I want to show you what regrouping looks like. Again, we need to line up everything by place value. So I'm going to start with the first number, which is 4,380, and make it a little spread out so I have room for regrouping. Then I'm going to start listing the second number, but I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to start with the ones place and move my way to the thousands place. So I'm going to put 5 here, 7 here, 2 here, and 1 here. I do that so that if I have a number that's got less digits than the first number, I know everything will be lined up correctly. Okay, so I go to the ones place and I can't take 5 away from 0. So I need to go to the tens place and take one of those tens away. That means there's only 7 tens left, and I need to give that 10 to the 0, making it 10 instead of 0. So 10 minus 5 is 5. So I'm going to put that here. 7 minus 7 is 0. 3 minus 2 is 1. And 4 minus 1 is 3. So final answer here would be 3,105. All right, you guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I hope to see you in another video soon.